Uh, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay. And very good uh, evening. All right. This session, we will discuss about FTP protocol. Okay, let's see next. Okay, so FTP ini, I guess everybody knows lah. What is FTP? So FTP is a protocol that for us to upload and to download a file. Okay, so basically it is a protocol that we use to share files. Okay, between routers lah. In here between remote location. I mean between routers. Okay, in this case lah. In our case, because we need to send and receive a file from a router. Okay. So FTP is quite old. Okay, it is part of TCP/IP protocol, and in fact, it has port numbers that being used by FTP is port number 20 and port number 21. Okay, and it is said that this TCP is reliable. Okay, probably because this TCP are using, sorry, this FTP is using TCP, and in TCP we have connection establishment, okay, and everything. So that's why maybe they consider that as a reliable. But we have another version of FTP. We call it secure FTP, and this secure FTP is using SSH, and and all the data that we transfer, all the files to everything is encrypted. Okay. So, but here, the original version of FTP, they don't have encryption, and in fact, the files are being transferred as it is. Okay, if it isn't by the remote. Okay, so another one that you need to know, we have also trivial FTP. Okay, so this trivial FTP is probably using UDP, and it doesn't have a password or anything. Okay, so there's so many version of FTP. The one that we want to look into detail is the original FTP. Okay, so this FTP is used by us as the network administrators. And for us, okay, we need to implement these FTP services, okay, in order for us to upload and download configuration files. So we need to look into how this FTP transfer the file, okay, and in the lab, we also have a configuration of FTP services in the devices. Devices, it means here it means the routers lah. Okay, so next. Okay, so what is the purpose for us to put the FTP server inside a router? Okay, so normally, okay, all the administrators, okay, what they do when they have a backup file, or when they already take a backup, okay, and then they want to transfer that file, okay, so they are using FTP. So also they use this FTP, okay, to download the configuration file, and also some log files. Okay, so sometimes they download a log file, and also sometimes, and all the time lah. Okay, they how they use this FTP is when they transfer a configuration file, and of course the OS the image of that OS, okay, also can be transferred, okay, by using FTP. So VRP here, VRP image here is the OS lah. The OS in the router, they are using VRP, and that VRP image we can use FTP to download before uh, uh, for backup purposes lah. Okay. Okay. So I hope that you understand this part, that this slide, they want you to understand that when you launch this FTP server, it is not to do a web hosting, and the client can download and upload video, okay, not for that purpose lah, okay. Although it can be done that way, but when you up the services in the server, in the router here, so it means that you are using it only to maintain your daily operation lah, backup, okay, configuration files and log file, okay. So how how FTP using how FTP transfer the files. Here you can see that you have server and client here, and the client through the user interface, I mean the keyboard and everything. Okay, so keyboard and they request. Okay, they request. So what you need to observe here, that FTP are using TCP, and there is two connection. Okay, two connection here. Okay, first is the control connection. Okay, so this control connection, okay, are using port number 21. Okay, this is where you request to transfer which file. For example, okay, you request first lah in port number 21. So for server, this is in this port. Okay, they wait for the users to connect, okay, to make a connection request at this port. Okay, after they check the AAA and then the username password is okay, okay, what happened? This server will send and receive file, okay, by using a data connection. Okay, so this data connection, okay, the data connection, the port number is 20. Okay, I hope you can memorize this. Okay, where every file that you download and upload is actually using port number 20, and it is not port number 21. Okay, so how, so here it is mentioned here that this one is wrong, I guess. Okay, the client can uh, can only close a data connection. Okay, so as a server, okay, as a FTP server, okay, you can open and close data connection. Okay, of course lah, because you are the server. Okay, but in client, they cannot close the control connection. They can only close the data connection. Okay, so how the file is being transferred in FTP. It's like if you have one file, for example, ali.txt. Okay, so you have one file. So this one is a text file. So what happened? Is that okay? This FTP will transfer each file in streams. Okay, so one file. Okay, they transfer all this thing until end of file here. Okay, so until end of file. Okay, there is one stream lah. Okay, one stream. So if you have another file, okay, so you have a new data connection. Okay, the new data connection here, okay, is not a new session. Okay, you still you don't have to log in and log out so many times. No, okay, so you log in once, okay, and then you transfer. For example, you transfer ali.txt until end of file, then it will be a new stream for let's say abu.txt file here. Okay, so uh, FTP will transfer until end of file. So each and every file ni is considered as a new data connection, okay? But in the same session, okay? But different streams lah, okay? So that is what it meant lah, okay? So uh, so end of file, okay? Okay, so we move to next slide. Okay, so how this file, the transmission mode, okay? The transmission mode here refer to how FTP format, okay, the data format, okay. So you can transfer file that the file is in ASCII mode, or this one is a text file, okay. And other than that, okay, other than text file, okay, is considered in binary mode. So the default is in ASCII mode. So that's why when you do in the lab, when you want to transfer any other file other than text file, you must put the binary command, okay, because the default in FTP is ASCII. So the modes here are referring to how FTP transmit the type of file lah. Okay, so they are ASCII and binary mode. So I hope that you know that as this ASCII mode, those who learn what course, computer organization, okay, last year, okay. So we already learned this ASCII mode, okay. This ASCII mode is used for text, okay, and in which data is converted, okay, uh, from sender characters. So I'll explain about this later, but all the characters or anything that the user key in will be converted into 8-bit ASCII. Okay, so you can see, I hope I can share this. Okay, where is the file? Guess this one. Okay. So I hope you can see this. Okay, this is a 8-bit ASCII where you have all these characters, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, uh, uh, capital letter and everything, including, okay, you can see here, okay, you have LF, line fit, okay, and CR carriage return. Okay, we will talk about that lah. So basic later, so basically whatever that you key in from the keyboard and all the control characters will be interpreted by this 8-bit ASCII. Okay, so this is so if you have, for example, D here, so it will be represent in 0110 0110 Okay, so that is basically what is 8-bit ASCII. Okay, so this is the 8-bit ASCII just now is where all the is where FTP will convert, okay, this text that they receive from the senders to 8-bit ASCII. Okay, so what is the good thing about this FTP is that FTP will do the formatting, the formatting. I mean, will convert that whatever the sender's character here. It shows the users the users of this FTP. Normally, users from Windows and users from Linux, okay, will generate a text file, okay. So text file, okay. So later you can see that, okay. So in Windows, the way they represent text file is different, okay, with Linux, okay. So let us first look at Windows, how they uh, 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 how they do the tagging on text file. Okay, so let me share screen here. Okay, so let me close this. Okay, this also this, this. Okay, so many things to close. Okay. All right. So here, if I create a new file, for example, text Linux, sorry, test Windows. Okay, test Windows, and this one is a text file. Okay. So when I open, and then what I do is just type anything lah. This is a text file. Sorry, text file, and then in Windows. Okay, so then I save this. Okay, I save this. Okay, so and then I open this file by using Notepad++. Okay, you need to have a Notepad++ lah in order to do this. Okay, there, okay, you can see that whatever that I typed just now, the text, hello, and then this is a text file. Every end of line, they have this CR, okay, carriage written, and this LF, line feed. Okay, this is how they represent a text file. End of every line, you have CR and LF. Okay, and end of line number 2, okay, you also have CR and LF. Okay, that is how you Windows represent their text file. Okay, so let's look at in Ubuntu. Okay, I also have my Linux here. Okay, so I just enter my Linux file. Okay, and this one I delete first lah. I already tried this, okay, before I demo this to you. Okay, so first, okay, oops. Okay, so here, let's say I create one file, I put it as a test Linux. Okay, the name of that file is test Linux. Okay, so here I just put hello. Okay, and then this is a text file, for example. Okay, and then in Linux, and then I put Ubuntu. Okay, okay, Ubuntu. Okay, so and then Control X, I save this. Okay, and what I do now, okay, I want to put this file from my Linux, and I want to put it in the desktop, in my desktop in Windows. Okay, so what I do, I just put some command lah to do that. Okay, so /mnt, okay, c this t, okay, and then desktop. Okay, so oh, desktop. Okay, so okay, when I do that, now, okay, I receive the file test Linux there in my desktop. So I close this. Okay, so when I open this test Linux, okay, I bring it out here and I open it with Notepad++. Okay, you can see that Linux, when they represent a text file, every end of line, they have LF, line feed. Okay, so it is, and then here, this is text file LF in Ubuntu Linux LF. So it is different with Windows. Okay, Windows are using CR and LF. Okay, which is carriage, written, and line feed. Okay, so what the FTP, okay, will do, okay, FTP will convert this, okay, from Windows. Just now we have CR and LF, okay, and at end of each line, Linux has LF. Okay, so I hope you know that CR means carriage written here, line feed is LF. Okay, so uh, before FTP transfer this text file, it will convert to all to become 8 bits ASCII. Okay, So FTP are helping us lah, so that when we send file from Windows, text file using FTP, and we want to put it in, let's say for example, Linux, in Linux environment. So FTP will adjust lah, okay, will convert to to the destination tu. When it come to the destination, then FTP will convert it back to according to the user punya requirement here. Okay, so that is how FTP help, okay, the to transfer the text file. Okay, so when it come to text file, which is ASCII mode, so all the end users, they don't have to do converting lah. Okay, but if you have other than text file, what you mean by other than text file is a binary mode, okay, where you have image, program file, configuration file, okay, .zip, compressed file, everything sent in binary mode. And binary mode basically send as it is, where each file byte for byte. Okay, so that is how they do it. Okay. So let's move to next. Okay. So in order to do in here in the router, I guess this one is a router here. Okay. So in order to up the servers in router, so you have the services, FTP services. You can uh, have FTP services in router and also in switches. Okay, so but you must enable it first lah. So here FTP server enable. Okay, you must use this lah to enable the servers. Okay, so it is not by default FTP is up in the router. No, okay, you must enable it first. And okay, so if you on the FTP server, now user can manage file. I mean, can upload and download file in FTP mode. Okay, so before you do that, you need to know that when we upload or when we download, okay, so let's say for example we upload a file, for example, when we upload the location of the file that we upload, okay, that location, okay, you must specify, you must specify the directory, the FTP directory. Okay, so when you download, for example, you download from which directory. Okay, so that one is important. Okay, so that's why, okay, at first, okay, you must set the default directory. So what it mean by this default directory? Okay, those who already use Linux, they know this. Okay, so default, but this one is default FTP directory. So what is default directory? Okay, default directory is the directory that the directory when you enter the router, you directly will go, okay, to that default directory. Okay, so uh, for example, I guess here, okay, all this while we we didn't, this one I need to close. Okay, so let's look at some example. Let's say you drop and drag one router here, you start this router. Okay, so when you start this router, after you start, and then you go to clear. Okay, so let's wait for a while. Okay, okay, so we take some time. Okay, uh, uh, let us be patient lah. Okay, the oh, it takes a while. All right, so is it working or not? Um, Okay, there. Okay, so when you enter, the moment you enter this, okay, uh, where is your location? Where is your directory? The default directory. Okay, you use this command pwd. Now you know you are in flash directory. So this is your default directory. Okay, so there, okay, if you list up what are the files that you have in that directory, so by default you can have this file. Okay, dhcp portal page. This one is in ENSP lah. Okay, in real router you have different file. Okay, so there, okay, so you have this file. Okay, this file. So default directory is this one lah, flash slash. Okay, so if you in Windows, for example, what is your default directory? The moment you enter Windows, you are in the desktop. Okay, so that is the default directory. It's just that Windows, they don't call it directory, they call it folder. Okay, but when you go to command uh, prompt, for example, in Windows, okay, this is your default directory. So the moment you enter, at first, initially you are in this directory slash backslash user backslash ida wati in this example. So how about in Linux? Okay, so in Linux, okay, when you go to Ubuntu, okay, here when you enter Linux, okay, so you are in this directory. Okay, what directory? This is the default directory lah. Okay, so default directory here is slash home and slash ida wati. So in the case of routers, okay, in the case of router, the moment you enter, okay, you are in flash directory. So you want, if you want to know, okay, what will be the content of that directory, so you go for dir. Okay, so of course, you look at this, you know, okay, this one is directory. You want to go to other directory is okay, but here in the slides, okay, they just want you to know that you have to set the default working directory, okay, default directory for FTP users, so that when you upload, okay, all the files that you upload will be in the default directory. Okay, so this is important. So here the command that you use, okay, is here to set default FTP directory in flash. Okay, so Huawei routers normally they don't have a big storage. Okay, so that's why apa tu, they use flash lah, flash. Okay, so this one is a directory. So when you upload a file, for example, all the files that you upload will be inside this directory. Okay, because you already set it as a default. Okay, so I hope you know, okay, what is the purpose of default directory. So if you there is no default directory here, okay, you cannot uh, um, log into the router. Okay, why? Because you have this FTP, you have a username and password. Okay, fine. Okay, you have this username and password, but you don't have a direct password. Okay, so but you don't have a directory. So when you have a file to upload or download, okay, the router doesn't know, okay, where to put the file. Okay, so you need to tell the routers that every file that you deal in FTP session, you go to the default directory, and in this case it is a flash directory. Okay, so that is uh, default directory. It is important. Okay, so if you don't have a default directory, is meaning to say that if you don't have a location, okay, to upload your file. Okay, You have a username password, but you don't have a location to put to upload your file. Okay, so that is what it means by default directory. Okay, so here is nothing much. Okay, every FTP user, the same with Telnet. Okay, Telnet also you must have username and password by using AAA. Okay, Internet services. So in FTP services, so also if you use AAA, you have user account to identify the FTP users and to apply a specific permission for each users. Okay, this one is normal lah. I mean, we already learned this. Okay, so this is not new to you. Okay, so we have AAA and we have individual user login. Okay, to do what? To authenticate them, to give name, username, and password, and to authorize them. So to authorize them is to authorize the service type, which is FTP, and to authenticate them, meaning that they must have a username and password. Okay, this one is normal lah. Okay, and also, okay, you if you don't define the default directory just now. Okay, so you must put this FTP directory command, okay, to specify the directory for users. But normally, what we do, the default directory in routers is in flash. Okay, slash. Okay, this is because router are using flash memory in order to store all the data, and this flash memory, as you know, it is not a big storage. Okay, so that's why, okay, they encourage you, or not encourage, they uh, if you up FTP servers in a router, okay, it is not to upload and download videos. Okay, no, it's only to upload and download configuration file. Okay, and okay, so that is one thing. Okay, so I must make this one bigger in order to explain. All right, so here, okay, you have apa tu, this one is quite normal that you go to AAA and then this user, the password, okay, and then the services is FTP and the default directory is flash. When you upload and download, this is where the location of your file will be in here in this directory. And also here you can see that, okay, these users have access limit of 200. So what it mean by this, okay, those who uh, have experience using FTP, okay, you know that we have this anonymous, okay, anonymous users. Okay, so if we enter the server, okay, by using anonymous username, okay, so you can enter without password. Okay, sometime if the FTP servers they want to share files to everyone. Okay, so what they do is they create these users anonymous, and then these users, okay, without password can access or can download the file, for example. So if we want this Huawei users, this user, okay, uh, this username, this Huawei, you want this Huawei username and password. Okay, so let's say you have username here is Huawei and password is okay. You want this, okay, this user on the same time, okay, uh, have a virtual, okay, FTP connection, okay, virtual FTP connection to you, okay, to servers lah. Okay, if you want, these users can access from so many terminal, for example, from so many location. Okay, so from so many location, okay, and access to the server with the same username and password. Okay, with the same username and password, okay, on the same time, okay. You can allow them to do that by putting the access limit to 200. What I mean by 200, on the same time, uh, uh, with the same username and password, Huawei and Huawei 123, for example, you can access to the server, okay, to the FTP server. So that is what it mean by that lah. So I guess those who have experience using FTP ni, they know, okay. Um, Sometimes we ask the user to put the username and password. The users, let's say you have 200 users, you want them to download the file, okay, so you can allow them to do that, okay. But okay, in term of practicality, in term of practicality, okay, in routers, not so many people have access to this router. Then the most you can go maybe 4 to 5 people lah. I mean the admin, okay. But FTP, when you up in a server, not in the router, when you up FTP servers in server, okay. So you can do this lah, or meaning if you want to do apa hosting, so this one, okay, you create the access limit lah, okay. It can go until 800 users lah on this, not 800 users, 800 virtual connection on the same username and password, okay. So that's it. Okay, so there we also have, let me clear this one first, okay. There, make it bigger. I'm the one who have problem to see the detail. Okay, now here you have idle timeout 00. So 0 here refers to minute, minutes, okay. And this one is seconds lah, okay. So what it mean by this, okay, it means that naturally, not naturally lah. Sometimes when you use this FTP, you enter this FTP session, and sometimes you leave it without log out, okay, without logging out, okay. You just leave it there open, okay. So if you set the timeout, if you setting the timeout here, okay, the timeout here means that apa tu, you left it idle, okay, for some period of time. Let's say for example after 15 minutes, for example, okay, you want the server to automatically log out, okay. So you put lah, okay, in the command idle timeout. So you put, let's say 10 minutes of, if it's idle, so let's say that, so it is going to be 10 and 0 lah. 10 here means 10 minutes, okay. 0 here means 0 second, okay. So if you put that lah. So what is this for? I guess you all know that when you leave it idle, so probably somebody else can access, and this is to prevent unauthorized access, okay. So basically after you finish that session, you the one who will buy, okay. That there is a command buy for you to quit, okay. So if you don't do that by default, okay, if you don't do that, then it become idle, okay. So you need this time out lah, okay. So 00 means that there is no time out period, okay. So this one is not good actually. Okay, and so let's look at the last part, not this one, okay. So privilege, okay. Privilege, we already learned this, okay, when we learn AAA, that we have a privilege 0, 1, 2, and 3. So 3 is the 0 is a visit level that you can use only, what was it? Ping and tracer, kan? And the most you can go probably telnet and SSH, okay. You just check your slides lah, okay, that you remember. Okay, one is what? One is basic level, that they can only use display command, okay, and number two, level two, I don't remember the name, but level two they can do what we call this, they can configure, okay, configure IP address, okay, all the network command, okay, network related commands lah, meaning that you can configure kan, IP address and all these things if you have privilege too. And for you to up this FTP server, the users must have a privilege 3. Privilege 3 means that you can do 0, 1, and 2, and also debugging. Okay, and in this case, I hope you know that when you use FTP session, okay, when you use FTP session, you have for what? Okay, you use FTP session to download file, okay, and to upload a file, okay. So when you download a file, you are using the get command, okay. We will learn this in the lab lah, get command. And then when you want to upload a configuration file, okay, in the router, you are using put command. So in order for you to use this command, okay, these commands, you need to have a privilege 3, okay, because you are using so many commands to upload, to download, and everything, okay, not only to display, okay. So that's why you must put the privilege to become 3 here, okay. So that's it, okay. And okay, so privilege level, and this privilege level, is it for all? No, only when you are using FTP session. Okay, so when you connect to that FTP server, you and the server will have one session, and during that session you can upload and download. So the privilege here, okay, is referring to this FTP session. Okay, that in this FTP session, you use so many commands. Okay, you can put and to upload and download, and then you use a directory to list up the files that you want to upload and download. Okay, and you can have many more commands, change directory, okay, pwd, so many commands that you use, so you need the privilege to do so. Okay, all right, so I'm a little bit tired, but okay, let's move lah. Okay, all right. So let's see here. Okay, so the client is very simple. Okay, what you do, this is client. Okay, this is client. So what you do, you put the command FTP, and this is the FTP server. Okay, the FTP server is here. Okay, 172.1.1.1. So when you enter that, okay, and then you put your username and password. Okay, is verified, okay. And then what happened here, okay, uh, is you are now, okay, I hope that you can see this lah, okay. You when you enter here, okay, and then you put the binary command that you want to upload or download in a binary mode, okay. So you put that, okay. You are now actually in this part, I need to delete this one first, okay. Here, when you, after you enter your username and password, this is the server's environment, okay. The FTP server environment, okay. So you are now in the FTP server, okay. So you are not in this session, you are not uh, here, okay. You are now in this environment here, okay, is the server environment. That, okay, when you this command is to download, I mean you want to get this file, okay, vrp.cc, okay. So what you do, okay, so this get command is to download, okay, to download a file named vrp.cc, Okay, so you are now in the session with the server. Okay, so that one I need you to Nila, okay, to observe that. But I guess that we need to in order for us to understand it well, we need to do the lab. Okay, so you can see sometime the file name is vrp whatever name, okay, .cc. .cc here is the configuration file, okay, for Huawei router. Okay, the configuration file, okay, the extension is .cc. Okay, so that is the purpose lah. So let's say for example you want to get something, so from that session there, okay, so you just get no, sorry, this one download, you want to put, let's say for example you want to put some configuration file. So what you do, okay, uh, meaning that you want to upload the configuration file, you have done some configuration and then you want to put it in the router. So what you do is you do put and what we are whatever file lah, cfg.cc for example. Okay, so this command is for you to upload this file to where? To this router. Okay, to this router. This router that you connect. Okay, to. Okay, so then again, you mentioned here to send a file, meaning that to put. Okay, the command is put. To retrieve a file, the command is get. Okay, so we learn very simple put and get lah, although there are many more. Okay, but we learn the basic how to put a configuration file and how to get a configuration file. Okay, so that is it lah. Okay, so next. Okay, so I guess oh okay, I try to be fair to both group. Okay, that here uh uh it's, uh it's nothing much actually. Okay, here this one. Okay, so from the website, okay, I just see lah what are the command that they use. Okay, when they demo, nothing much. They also use the same thing, binary. And then this one is get device soft.cc. This one is when they want to upload and download, kan? Okay, so this one get is to download this file. Okay, the command put here is to upload this vrpcfg.zip file. Okay, and then if you want to end the session, you put quit. Okay, okay, and you can check lah, okay, the directory whether the things that you download is in your router or not. Okay, you access to the server, you want to get some file. Okay, so now you check in your directory lah whether the file that you get just now, okay, the file that you download just now is already in your router or not. Okay, so that's the basic things lah that they learn. Okay, that you need to know. Okay, okay, so some question, so which port are required to be open in order to allow FTP services? Okay, this one you have to remember that FTP services have two TCP connection, two TCP port. This one to be used for data. And before you can send and receive data, you must use port number 21 to make a connection request to the server. Okay, that's it. Okay, and a user is considered to have no authority to access any working directory. Okay, this one, what step are required to resolve this? Okay, so just now you know that when you access to the FTP for some purposes, okay, so what are the purpose of you access to the FTP server is for you to get a file or to put a file. Okay, so if you want to get a file, from where you want to get that file? From a from some directory. Okay, so that file is located in which directory, for example. Okay, so when you deal with FTP, you need to deal with the directory because, okay, when you access uh, to the FTP server, you need to get a file and you need to put a file. So if you want to put a file, for example, you want to upload a file to that routers, for example, to which directory? Okay, so that's why you need to set the default directory. Okay, so that when the user can access by username and password, and also the user have a location to put the file, okay, or to upload or to download the file. So the location, or in Windows we call it folder, okay, but in normally we call it a directory. So basically you need to have a default directory. So you need to put this command, set default for FTP directory, and this is when you put the directory location or the folder location, and by default, okay, in not by default, normally in router, okay, in Huawei router here, for example, they are using flash. Okay, so flash directory, in here you put all the file that you already get or put command just now. Okay, so I guess that's all. Okay, thank you very much.